Hi, welcome to Quirky Queen's Journals. My name's Kirsten. So today I am making a collage using lots of leftovers. So the masking tape I put down with the stripes is actually paint drips from when I was doing a picture that I was having vertically. So that tape was holding the picture on the wall while I was painting it. This is just tissue paper pulling off leftover jelly prints off the jelly plate, and the brown paper was again just paint left on the jelly plate when I'd been pulling off prints. The card that I am adhering these to is watercolour painting practice, so I thought about the fact that the watercolours when they're wet might spread, but I wasn't concerned because at the end of the day a collage generally does involve a lot of layers, so I knew that any sort of spreading of the paint would A, add to it, and B, would probably be covered up anyway. So when I'm making collages and abstract pieces, I do tend to prefer vertical lines. So you will notice most things I will cut in a tall vertical line. Later on you'll see I have tried to add in some horizontals and some triangles, and there's a slight, so the circles end up in one part quite strong, but in the other part they're quite faded, but they're more, I do think they balance each other because the circles on the other side are very muted, but they're a strong colour and they're involved as part of quite a heavy pattern, so I think they do go together. So these are jelly prints. I really love this one. This is what I've been trying to do on the jelly print is I have been layering so that it's a bit like you're looking through a window into something that's going on behind that. So at the moment it's getting more of a building look to it. And that's because of the use of the vertical lines mostly. So the start of this is a lot of collaging. So I will put a little bit of music in the background and then I'll come back when we move on to like the gesso and the oil pastels, etc. So also to note that this has been sped up 5 times because it was quite a long process, so it would be a 2.5 hour video otherwise. So I think we'll stick with the half an hour and 5 times speed. So I have collaged most of it now, and what I'm doing is I'm just going in with the gesso just to try and put some of it into the background. I probably use I do use quite a thick layer. But I do think it's helpful to sort of highlight areas, and it had all got a bit confusing and too busy, so it's helped bring a bit of structure back in. And it looks less like a cityscape just now. To me, the piece at the top is like, it's like that brutal style architecture. So the next stage, we're just going to add in some more collage, and I'll put a bit of music on for that. All the collage pieces I am using are, they're mostly jelly prints. Some of them are, like the brown and yellow striped piece. They're pieces that I've painted myself, just trying to do mark making on the paper. So this is Payne's Grey acrylic paint, quite heavily diluted with water to try and create a glaze, just to bring it together and to obviously reduce some of that whiteness. I do think it's helped add a bit of atmosphere and a bit of shadow that wasn't present there. It's added a bit of depth to it that was missing, but it's still very flat looking at this stage. So I've just tried to bring a bit of brightness to it with the brighter blue colours. And the next stage I am going to add in some oil pastels. I actually find this stage very hard because you're past the halfway point. You're kind of having to think more about where the painting is actually heading, and you have to get more specific, but you can also feel really lost at this point. So with the oil pastels, I am kind of taking a blending approach at the moment. I'm sticking to the oranges and the blues. Suppose I'm trying to highlight areas here and just build some structure and some flow, like trying to bring it together and also create a path through it to draw the eye around. And I do think that's one of the hardest things about being self-taught. It's actually, there's certain techniques that I just hope I've learned properly or well enough to be able to create the path that helps the eye go round and the structure that's needed to make it a full painting that goes together. that middle section that I'm working on there, that was problematic. I always find the sort of middle area the hardest, because obviously you're almost splitting the picture into 3 parts, each side and the middle, and it's very hard trying to bring it all together in a way that works. But it's not just about making it work, it's about actually, making it stand out, making it, you don't want it to just be okay. So this is it, nearly completed. I knew I really liked those black circles in there. So they're not quite the same pattern that I'd used before, but they're still as effective, I think. And, the blue, red and yellow piece with the blue diagonal going through it on the right-hand side, that's got yellow circles in it. And I just felt that, it did bring it together. So in the end, I was actually very happy with it. I think it's quite a happy piece, actually. It gives off a kind of a happy vibe. It's not very intensely emotional. I hope you enjoyed, and thanks very much for watching.